Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Versus Stars podcast. All my loyal listeners, thank you for your continued support. And remember, click the subscribe button, everybody. It's an amazing episode because Marti Matulis returns again to the mothership. You know him from his many characters on Evil. Now appears as Vane on The Mandalorian. Come aboard as we go traversing the stars. Hello, Mr. Matulis. Thank you for being the returning champion to the Traversing the Stars podcast.
Woo! Do I get an award? Do I get stars, gold stars, or something like that?
I'll send you a sticker. I'll send you an official Traversing the Stars sticker.
I will take a sticker. Pride. Thank you.
You can wear it on the badge like an honorable elementary school kid who got the star from the teacher.
Excellent. Love that. Love the kudos.
Yes. Yeah. The funny thing is, I feel like we've been like hinting around and playing around forever with the secret Mandalorian thing that's been going on with you, because I think with the last two times we've talked about it, we've hinted, we danced around it, and now finally we may be able to talk about how does it feel to be able to keep the secret for that long and finally be able to talk about it.
It was fun and pretty much easy to keep the secret because you never know exactly, I'm not like a major character or I'm not a big returning character. I'm a new thing, but a race we've already seen. So other than the ironclad what do they call those contracts that you're not supposed to say anything about anything?
NDA.
Yeah, one of those NDA things. I can respect that and do that, but at the same time, be like, hey, I'm excited about something. Takes place out in the stars, and there might be some conflict, large scale conflict.
How close did you come to accidentally letting us slip one of these times that you've talked to people?
A little bit podcasty. I think I was kind of hinting around at things. And of course, then it's like, Marty said that. And I was like, oh, right. Extrapolation. People assume, people can search things out. I need to be a little even more careful sometimes, just so I don't run afoul of what Disney. And of course, and me as a fan, I get it. I don't want things spoiled. I know a lot of people, it's their bread and butter, but I want to go in fresh and see these things too. So. But involved in it was great. I was super excited.
I probably was guilty of that. I think in one of the notes I put, and we talk about the Mandalorian. I'm thinking to myself, we probably mentioned like I did something. I was like, he talked about the Mandalorian. Talk about the Mandalorian.
Right.
On the notes.
Guy with a helmet. That's the thing. Yeah, I get it.
But still, though, it was cool when I watched the show. I was like, there he is. That's the guy. We've been talking about this for a year. There he is. So, for those who don't know, on the third season of The Mandalorian, you played the pirate Vane. So what were you told about the character upon getting the role?
If I recall correctly, it was originally an audition, of course, and they give you nondescript kind of like pseudo sides, so you don't really know what's going on, but it smelled a little like Star Wars. And I was like, wait a second, no way. First of all, like, no way, because most of my stuff is creature suity things. And
right.
I had never had an association with this group before. So when I got that, then they said just the name of the character, and I had no idea. So obviously, if you've snooped at all, my career is dealing with special effects makeup artists, primarily under makeup. So I know like that family of people start emailing like, hey, are you working on this year? No, I worked on Obi-Wan. Okay, fine. Hey, are you working on this? Finally got a hold of someone and they're like, hey, we're designing something on you. I'm like, can you tell me what it is? And they said, no. So that's pretty much it. It's secretive all the way down. Once I finally found out what it was, I think we were pretty close to me coming in for the makeup test. And that was the first time I got to see the actual sculpt and the makeup, the prosthetic piece as well, which was actually the makeup test itself. That was, I thank God I won the audition for the character, but the makeup test was like the character's audition, because what I was told was they had never seen that. Is it the brown Nikto? They'd never seen anything other than a pullover mask up to date up to that point. Like the biker gang was all pullovers. This was the first prosthetic faced Nikto, so they kind of wanted to see if or what it could do. So makeup test with Doug Chang 2 inches from your face. That's the real audition, I think.
That is awesome. But I mean, like I said, considering how much work you've done with prosthetics, whatnot, I feel like you'd be like the go-to guy. Every time anyone does anything with prosthetics, be like, Marti Matulis needs to be called. Not on speed dial for most people.
Thanks. You want to be my agent? Because that's pretty cool.
I would totally do that just to be able to get phone calls from people from Star Wars.
Right. It's a pretty small gang, I think. There's a kind of a revolving handful of people who who do this stuff more than occasionally. Yeah, and I think after having done it for 20 years, I'm kind of in that crowd. Of course, there's the Doug Jones who kind of paved the way for all of us creature suit dudes who wanted to play monsters for a living.
Well, I mean, with all these years, like I said, this must be secondhand to you. I mean, do you even still get like the itching and the uncomfortableness, or is it just so natural to you now?
Well, strangely enough, I mean, this is your exclusive. I actually have like a latex allergy that's kind of cropped up, so
Oh
I'm like
wow.
starting to peel away from foam stuff and doing more silicone characters. So that's just kind of something that's kind of developed over the years. So that's um, not like a career killer, but like it's been giving me pause. Whereas now I'm a 50-year-old boy, I got to think about like, got to take care of my body. Maybe I shouldn't do A, B, and C. Let's try D, E, and F. So, just learning things as you go, never stopping.
But that don't know, what is the difference between the foam and the latex? I mean, is there a visual difference? Is there something about the
Yeah,
dexterity of
so
it?
like
Dexterity?
it seems like the two primary materials they'll use to make a prosthetic face or head or hands or suit, it's a foam latex. So it's a baked foam that gets kind of aerated and is light and kind of fluffy. And if you get a real close up, sometimes you can see it just looks a little like foam. It looks, you can't really see into it. So silicone is heavier, it's more solid, it's very soft, and it can be kind of translucent, so it looks more like real skin. So you can get some very realistic effects from that. But it also just depends on the artist. Anyone who knows how to paint is going to make beautiful work out of either material. So just kind of depends on what the needs of the particular design are as to what they use. Vane was a beautiful foam latex face and then head, and then the rest of him was just all cool pirate wardrobe.
Now,
Super cool pirate wardrobe.
he
Super
does
cool.
it does look bad. It must be awesome to be the villain, the pirate villain.
Not gonna lie, pretty cool. I was a pretty happy kid on that set.
How much of it was like physical, and how much was the CGI that we couldn't? Because I couldn't tell the difference from where I was sitting on TV.
For Vane,
And the whole set that you were on.
Navarro is pretty much 100% up to a certain level, and then they'll extend beyond that. But pretty much everything you see kind of down a street or an alley is all built. We've got a nice little city set out there in Southern California. And then for the dog fight, I was just in like a built cockpit, had my stick, had the windshield, and then a cameraman right there.
But so how cool is it to be? Because once again, piloting that ship, it looks. I mean, I must admit, every kid has probably at least once been in that cockpit in their heads, like on the couch, like, oh, I'm piloting. I mean, was that a dream?
Total dream. I had to cool my jets on making spaceship sounds. The first bit of direction I got was slow down a little bit. I was like, I was flying really fast, and I don't think that was quite appropriate, but yeah, pretty exciting. And of course, as soon as I sit in the thing, like like if there's a button or a switch, I'm going to push it and flip it and see if it works. And most of the stuff does. They build it really well. Like all the little LED buttons, you can push them, and so you got to try to figure out what your business is going to be. And I was just so excited to be like, I'm gonna be dogfighting the Mandalorian. Oh my God. Just geeking out, and forgot to like push buttons.
Wait, they actually work? I always thought it was just like this, like just plastic, like in front of you and shit. They actually made the working parts.
Some, yeah. It just depends on what it is. There's well, I was about to say things I'm not allowed to say. So yeah, depends on what they're building. Depends on what kind of set you're on. Depends on what they're doing. Sometimes the buttons and the switches and the dials click and turn and change lights and turn on and off. Yeah. Depends on what they plan on shooting. If it's a little farther back, then probably not. But most of the stuff is nice built.
So did you make the pewing sound when you shot things like pew pew?
For the audition, because I had a feeling, it seemed like it could only be. And the audition was for that first scene, that kind of shootout scene. So the end of the audition was when I draw the gun. I'm like, well, I know exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to slam it to black and have Star Wars sound effects. So I don't know how much, if any at all, that had an effect on my being cast, but it made me happy with the audition.
They were like, he can make his own sound effects. He's in.
Right.
Now, when you got the role of Vane, and I'm sure you can share this information because, it's just me and you. How much of a backstory on the character were you given? And what do you know that we don't know about who this character is?
Oh, let me tell you everything. Yeah, I've got a whole book that they gave me that says "For Marty's Eyes Only." But let me just consult. Yep, on page 47, they I knew nothing really. I think I got space pirate, that there's pirates. We're gonna have pirates, and British accent, British, heavy on the ish. Did my best, but yeah, I think that was pretty much all I got. Was he had a British accent? He was a space pirate. So they were all really kind of generous and open-minded about what I brought. It didn't really change much from what I did in the makeup test. I was just kind of, I imagined who he might be, and we kind of stuck pretty much with that, other than like some action guidance, some character direction, towards helping the scene. But for the character itself, he was pretty much good to go out of the gate.
So, how much of his character do you think he's a villain? How much is he just an a-hole?
Is he either though? Is he?
I don't
Because
know.
I
He's a
think
pirate.
he's trying to like, you got to make a buck, got to earn your keep in the galaxy, and get a drink at a school. He's really adamant about that school drinking business.
Yes.
Yeah, I worry about it. He's got some issues. I'm not going to commit either way. He's just got some issues, and he's probably doesn't have a real strong moral compass. He's just a self-serving little SOB.
Who apparently has the balls to think he can take on a Mandalorian. Do you think he'd know better? Just look at the guy. He looks like someone you can't beat in a fight.
I suppose he's been lucky enough. He's got enough skills that he hasn't been taken down, but he's pretty cocky.
Mm.
He's definitely a cocky little shit. Yeah, I wonder, exactly what his comeuppance might be at some point. But so far, so good.
Do we happen to have do we know what's happening to him in the future? Do we already have that set, or
the singular we might have an idea of what's coming up for him. I think that the trailer that we've seen, the initial teaser trailer, kind of indicates that there's an ongoing pirate problem in Navarro, and we saw that Vane didn't in fact get blown away by the Mandalorian, so stands to reason he might still be lurking about.
For multiple episodes or just one more episode?
That might be veering into the tisk tisk Marty mode zone. So hard to say.
I feel like there's like a lore in the background.
Not hard to say, but I just can't. It'd be really easy to say, which is even worse because, yeah, that'd be a hard one to say.
Now, the thing about Star Wars characters, and Star Wars, I think, does it more than almost any other franchise, is that they branch out their characters always. I mean, to comic books and storylines and all this other stuff. Do we know of anything that you might have been told that would lead into one of those?
Dude, I'm a Lego.
You're a freaking
Vane's
Lego.
A Lego. That's the only thing I know about. Once they have their characters and you go in, of course, they like get all of their digital assets and there's photos and scans and you're inside of their silhouette. So whatever they want to do, they're going to do with it. So if being a Lego is any indication, I'm hoping for some action figure at some point, but I haven't heard about any other properties or comics or offshoots or anything like that. But so far, Snub Fighter and Vane and a little pilot suited Vane coming soon. I pre-ordered my 2 copies.
They didn't give it to you for free? You figure they get the Lego for free?
No, alas, not yet. Maybe someday.
Are you ready to sign numerous numbers of Legos during conventions now?
It was funny. Again, doing this initially, it was going to be a 1-day gig. I think Vane was just going to meet his maker in the shootout. But Favreau walked up to me at one point. He's like, "You're going to be signing shit till the day you die." And I was like, "Wait a second, Star Wars. I'm a cool looking alien on Star Wars. Oh yeah, of course." And I was starting to realize, like, oh yeah, right. I'm probably going to get to go do that stuff at some point. So hoping to. Nothing yet. Although, Star Wars Celebration's coming up.
Now, what's Star Wars Celebration?
Star Wars Celebration is the big, I think it's Lucasfilm's basically con for Star Wars, all things Star Wars, where they reveal teasers and have all the actors and producers and directors and stuff over 4 days. This year it's going to be in London, coming up in a couple of weeks. So I think because Vane's pretty new to the crew, he didn't really get an official invite this year. So I'm just going to go hang out. Like, do you remember Galaxy Quest?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to roll in Guy Fleegman style and just kind of hang out.
Just buy a card table and just like find a corner and be like,
right.
My spot.
I'll just draw my name in crayon on a piece of paper and just go see what happens.
Is it weird you're famous and at the same time, because you have the makeup, not necessarily identifiable, but so you're both people that people know, but sometimes you can walk in and be like a normal dude in a convention as well. What's that experience like?
I always kind of liked that. I liked that this career went that way because I enjoy being able to play such extremely different characters. And if you do that as an actor, unless you're like Gary Oldman or Daniel Day-Lewis or somebody who can really knock that out of the park, those opportunities don't really come your way. So it's allowed me to explore more, to develop more, and retain that anonymity. Now, I don't know that I would have had any issues with my anonymity or not, but when this came out, I was like, oh yeah, Star Wars is big. There's a lot of fan interest. I'm going to have to resign myself to the fact that, my face is going to be associated with him to some degree. Don't know how much, but there were a few articles that came out and they're like, who's in Vane? And of course, then your photo comes up and I was like, oh God, is this going to be weird or going to be good? I'm trying to preconceive the fan effect, but I'm excited about it. I mean, honestly, I'm such a Star Wars fan myself and always have been since it came out. The first one came out when I was 7. Like, it was a sweet spot movie for me. Kind of, everything from that moment on in school for years and years was Star Wars. You just played Star Wars. So I'm excited as a fan to have this association, to hopefully go to these conventions and just talk to other fans. Like, I can give them the little insider tidbits, but just kind of share the joy and the excitement of this really fun playground that George originally created.
So when you go to the conventions, like let's say, especially when we're not a guest, you should kind of go up behind people like, that guy Vane is very cool, don't you? They would like the voice and all that. Like, don't you think he's cool?
I mean, I don't know. I'm going to take notes. We're going to plan this out. My first one will be in a couple of weeks when I go to the con. I have thought about that. Half of me, I'm going to take my camera, and I like to hide and shoot video and photos. So I'll just kind of be lurking, but I am going to listen in a little bit. If there's any talk of anything like that, I might go, yeah. Vane, right. Yeah, right. Just kind of Vane out. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know how it goes.
Well, the anonymity might be out the door. As I was doing some research on Vane and whatnot, there's multiple now YouTube videos dedicated to you and Vane.
Oh,
so
God.
I just want to point that out, that your anonymity is probably gone at this point.
Shut that all to hell. All right. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how it goes at the convention. Now I'm gonna have to check out those YouTube things and see.
Yeah.
I remember watching a couple of, like, I only recently discovered these kind of reaction watch along.
Yeah.
So I was watching a couple of people watch the episode, and when they got to Vane, one of the guys was like, he said "avast." I'm like, yeah, I was laughing too. I'm like, oh boy, they are really, really leaning into the pirate thing. But he's a pirate. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, listen, I was trying to do some research on you, and I just kept seeing YouTube videos like, oh, everyone knows who he is now. And there's when you get to the multiple and the view counts on those that I saw that I must say I'm envious of. I was like, oh really? Everyone knows. Is there no? Because like I said, I think some of them were in the hundreds of thousands of views.
Oh my God!
So you're out there.
the one marker that I had that kind of set me back a little bit and made me realize the real interest and power of the Star Wars fan group is there's the Internet Movie Database. And as an actor, you set up your profile and you keep tracking it. You see everything you've ever done. And they have like it's their search algorithm for their own site, and they call it their star meter. So you can kind of see like how many people are looking for a particular person. Yeah. And with the work that I've done on Evil and some recent things, like I've been hovering around like 5,000 to 10,000 or so. And then when this came out the following week, it jumped to like 170.
Oh, nice.
Like, wow. I'm in the upper echelon, and then the next week it goes whoop right back down to where it belongs. Yeah, that was interesting. Interesting to see. Like, it's rabid. I'm that way too. I can't wait for anything Star Warsy, and it's tons of fun.
And I think, like I said, and the fact that you're a Lego is actually the graduation at this point, and that is so cool.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to build my ship and put myself in the cockpit and fly myself around the room. I may even shoot my own video with that.
Like I said, the lightness looks a little off. Your face isn't quite as rounded like the Lego piece, unfortunately. But no, it looks pretty cool.
This does not fit the Lego mold. This is something completely different.
But it must be pretty damn cool though to have that. I mean,
super cool.
I mean, the action figure must be coming around the corner then.
I hope. I'm in New York right now, and I went to Forbidden Planet, and they've got what is it, the Black Series? I think there's some sort of action figure line. I think they're called Black Series. It's a Hasbro product. They're a little more detailed and a little more jointed. And I was kind of thinking like, oh man, it would be pretty cool to have a very jointed, cool looking Vane action figure. I can't just sit around and play with it, but it'd be nice to see it and like check it out.
Of course you can sit around and play with it. Why the hell not?
Again, it'd be pretty easy to make his voice, I suppose.
So would that be your first action figure, or technically the Lego your first action figure? I mean, it's hard to say if that counts or not.
Yeah, I don't think anything else has been. I was trying to think. I don't think anything else I've been associated with has been action figured. Slee Stack, maybe no. No, I think this might be the first one.
Dude, that's gonna be wicked exciting when that happens.
So excited!
It's his own comic.
I'd be all right with that. That'd be cool. The more mileage Vane gets, the better. I think it's fun. He's a really separating myself from the guy who gets to be inside of him and puppeteer him basically. Like, I love the design. He's fun to look at. He's fun to watch. He's expressive. He's got I like the little nubbly bits, and like his bling is really cool. Oh man, I'm not going to say what it is because that would kind of be spoiling something. He's got things on his wardrobe that might be indicative of things we've seen before in the Star Wars world. Like, he's assembled his jacket and his bling from things he's found along the way.
Yeah, I feel like that needs to be explored just a bit.
That's gonna be a little Easter egg hunt that I'm gonna drop in your lap.
All right, that's very cool. So now we got all the listeners now hunting down slow-mo every second of film ever made.
A couple of the things were removed, but there's like one thing in particular I'm thinking of that someone at some point, and this is what I've been looking for the most, not like, what do people think of me and my performance? No, I'm like, who saw the thing? Who knows about the thing? There's a thing. Vane's got a thing on his wardrobe.
Is a thing like it becomes a weapon, or a thing like a souvenir thing?
No, like part of his wardrobe. It's something he's incorporated into his wardrobe.
Okay, at least I know I'm doing it after this interview. Slow motion watch of Mandalorian.
I think if your eye catches it, you'll just see it right away.
Okay.
But it's just kind of like so anachronistic, and you wouldn't expect that to be where it is. I'm trying not to point where it is, but yeah, there's a thing. It's fun. I was there when Shauna, the costume director, who's just a genius for the wardrobe fitting, and she was kind of like putting things together and talking to her staff, and then she's like, wait a second. She runs out of the room. She comes back in with the thing, and she kind of goes, boom, this is going to be a thing. And I was like, that is genius. Some kid in Ohio is going to be, I know the thing.
Like I said, you probably just launched 1,000 YouTube videos exploring the thing.
Yeah. Let's get that going. Let's make the thing a thing.
I think one of the coolest things about Vane too is that you got some serious screen time with Carl Weathers and Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian. Now, what was that like?
I had Carl from the moment I got on set. He was like where we're doing theater. He was excited to run lines. So anytime we had a break, I toward the end of the day, my favorite thing, I knew when we were coming out of a turnaround or a new setup, I was going to hear, "Hey, Marty." Like, "Yes, Mr. Weathers," and we'd go just kind of run lines. And really lovely guy, warm, very friendly. We sat down on one of the benches when we had some time and just kind of chat the shit about like the business and his involvement and kind of his career. And lovely guy. Pedro was not there that day.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, though I just did. I think he was up on Last of Us at the time. So there were days when they were swapping out. I don't know if it was Latif or God, I just blanked on the other gentleman's name. I think there's 2 to 3 people who will pick up different duties in the helmet depending on what's happened or what's happening or where Pedro is at the time. So alas and alack, that particular day, Pedro was not there.
oh,
But the cute little shit Grogu was there. He got rolled out. Can I tell you this?
yeah.
He got rolled out. You know, he's got his minders and his cables and stuff that they remove later so he can come to life. Spoiler alert, he's not really alive. But he kind of is, though, because when he came out, I saw the pram coming out and I turned to Ian, the makeup artist who was kind of tending to me on set. And I was like, "There he is. It's Grogu." He's like, "Yeah, you should go say hi." And I forget, like I look like Vane looks, but inside I'm like, I get to go say hi to him. He's like, "Yeah, you're in the scene with him. Just go say hi to him." So I kind of like tromp over with the boots. I'm probably 6'6". I kind of tromp over and I'm like giving him the critical eye, just kind of looking at all the parts and pieces. And then I see his ear twitch, my eyes go wide, and then he goes, whoop, looks right at me, and he's alive. He was no longer a thing. He was baby Grogu. And so I baby talked him for a few minutes until I again kind of remembered what I looked like, where I was. And then as I was having that realization, I look over and everyone's looking at us because gigantic space pirate cooing and baby talking the little green guy. I'd like to see that video. I haven't seen a copy of that yet.
So it
And I
looks.
adore him. If I could steal him, I would.
So it looks that real that you feel. I think I can't remember who it was, but someone told me that when they play against Kermit the Frog when he shows up on sets, people find themselves talking to Kermit, not the guy playing Kermit. The puppeteer. Is that the same with Grogu?
100%. Yeah. When I was first looking at him, like I've built stuff and I've filmed things, so I want to know, like, do they touch him up with CG? Do you have to fix anything? He's so well built. Silicone, I'm imagining. The eyes are just beautiful and glistening. Like, he looks real. He just looks really real. Yeah, where's I gonna go with that? I don't know. He's just cute. He looks great. It doesn't seem like they have to do much of any touching up. Maybe, I mean, obviously just the wire removal stuff underneath for the control rig, but those guys from Legacy, I think it's Legacy Effects who are puppeteering him. Several guys all running a couple of different aspects of him. And my understanding and my experience was that, they enjoy their job. So anytime anyone kind of walks up to him, they get to like get him moving, bring him up. It was awesome. A treat. That was certainly a highlight.
Now, when you're playing against the Mandalorian, because obviously it said it's not Pedro, but the Mandalorian itself, you're playing against a guy in the helmet who has no expression whatsoever. As an actor, how difficult is it to play against an actor that's giving you nothing back because you can't? There's no expression whatsoever of this guy.
Easy enough. I took, for me, and what I did for Vane was like he doesn't know what this guy is per se at the time. Though in the next, well, no, it still works that way. I'm choosing to believe that he found out later when he reported back that what's his name? The green fella.
Oh yeah.
My boss, the green fella, might have clued me in on what actually just happened and who that actually was. But for that scene, I just kind of considered him like he's just this dude leaning up against the tree, but really Grief Karga. He's the guy that I needed to deal with.
But I mean, it really is that costume as cool looking in person as it does on TV. I mean, is it pretty much
Great.
the same?
Super cool. Yeah. It's great. I wouldn't mind Mandalorian as well. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the helmet looks really great. It reads well. You know, I was thinking about the volume, the beautiful volume that everyone talks about, and how smart and amazing that is because of his reflectivity. Everything projected is the thing you're actually seeing reflecting off him. So it's not like you have to spend forever building that reflectivity in CG. It's just actually what's reflecting. So it's a pretty smart move having something shiny in this day and age when shiny works. Excuse me.
I assume when you're acting alongside him, the voice is not. I mean, they must be reading next to you the voice. I mean, because I imagine it doesn't sound like that coming out of that suit.
No,
it's like a clear voice.
Yeah, whoever it is, it's just coming out from under the helmet. So I think they're projecting pretty loud, and yeah, it just sounds like a dude in a bucket.
It's hard to keep your face, keep your expression straight when you hear the bucket voice coming at you.
Oh no, it actually helps because I think, you know, Vane being the shit that he is, I think that he's not intimidated by anything. He's just, even if death is staring him in the face, he's going to find a way to just brush it off and try to get what he wants. So yeah, I was kind of smirking at him as the non-threat that I imagined him to be. So anything like that was helping.
And I don't see why you could not be a Mandalorian. There's room for you. There's so many of them.
Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. See what happens.
It really must be the coolest thing to be part of what is, for most of us, the coolest universe. I mean, just cool factor of the geek universe.
Yeah. Yeah, forever. I mean, there's a lot of people are talking about kind of like Star Wars saturation, but I think that as long as they keep hiring good writers who have their own good vision to kind of apply over this established world, keep on going, man. It's a big universe. I think the only time that I, as a creative type myself, that I kind of wish there could even be more is when there's too much fan service, you know. Like, as a fan, I just want to have the experience of the world. I don't necessarily need every callback to every character, to every peppered in. Great. Like Andor. You watched Andor?
I did not, to be honest with you. I did not see Andor.
Well, let me tell you everything that happens in Andor. So, amazing, but not like it's around the events that we know. It's with some people that we know, but it's not focusing on Skywalkers or Jedi. No, I don't think there was not really a lightsaber to be found. And I love that. I loved it because it's a bit of a departure. You don't forget what's come before. So it's nice to see kind of this different viewpoint that's a little more adult, a little more character driven. It was it's so good. As a older fella,
yeah,
loved it. Kind of a slow burn. It's a bit of a thriller. You know, you get kind of the seriousness of what must have been going on for these people, either in high political positions or in the initial onset of the rebellion, trying to put things together. Like, you get to feel that tension. Like, Tony Gilroy was a perfect guy for that series, and they brought in some heavy hitter acting chops for it, and it's a treat. I couldn't recommend it highly enough.
I think I skipped it for the most part because, like I said, it was like a prequel to a movie where we all know the guy died. I was like, what can you really do with this?
Right. I think that was Tony Gilroy's challenge too. You know, he's like, what can we do with this? We got to show how he gets from this guy to this guy. He's got an expiration date, so we can't go past that. We want Diego, can't go too far back. So it's a pretty small window of time. Season 1 was pretty linear. I've heard season 2 is more like, what are they doing? I think they're doing a year every 2 to 3 episode block, which would be like the span of 4 years, which should take them right to the beginning of Rogue One.
That sounds really cool. I must admit, I loved Obi-Wan. I was surprised with how good Obi-Wan was. I was thinking to myself, once again, what the hell can you do with this storyline right now? Because we know where New Hope is. We know how Revenge of the Sith ends. There's no room for another a series here. Then you watch, you're like, oh, well, shit.
Yep. Did some stuff, met some new people, got some nice moments. Yeah, and like you said, because you had to end up at a certain point, they kind of bring you back to that point, drop you back off, and you're like, great, thanks for the trip. And I hope they leave it at one season. To be perfectly honest, I hope they don't go back and try to squeeze out another one. I thought that was like a nice little, here he is on the desert, got to have this adventure, got to come to terms with the Anakin issue, plop him back to his primary task of watching out for the well-being of Luke. But if they want to veer off and have more Obi-Wan and Luke on the planet, maybe I just reverse my position. I'm down for another season if they do that.
Well, I'm thinking that, there's been a comic book for Darth Vader for several years now. You might as well do the Darth Vader series now. There's got to be stories with that guy.
Yeah, well, that would be pretty awesome. Yeah. There's a lot to explore there. It'd be nice to have Hayden stay in the suit. Like, they built it on him. He loves being in it. That would be really cool.
And there's always room for pirates with Darth Vader as well, you would think, wouldn't you?
That's another great point you bring up, Jeff. I like what you're I like where you're going with this. Pirates everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I think every show now needs a particular pirate in around.
Perfect. Let's talk to Jon Favreau right now.
So the director of the episode is Rick Famuyiwa. How do you pronounce that?
I was introduced to Rick. I wouldn't hazard a pronunciation of the last name. It's a very cool looking last name. I just don't know the correct way to say it.
So his name is now Rick forever. That's just because it's easier. So what was the conversations like with him for that the scenes with him? Did he give you a lot of freedom? Did he kind of how much did he kind of mold what was happening in each scene?
Rick is a pretty soft-spoken guy. He's got a very clear vision of what he wants. He's a great communicator. I really enjoyed having him as a director. Like, as an actor, it depends on what kind of an actor you are. I like to prepare as much as I can with enough flexibility to be receptive to whatever happens on the day. He was really receptive to what I brought. He helped guide me kind of on some of the action points of the scene, because you get in your own head and you don't know everything that's going on. One of the coolest things he said was toward the end, when Vane is getting ready to run away, he said, make sure you look angry at the end, not just still in pain, because that gives you a reason to want to get revenge. It's like, give you a reason to come back since you're not dead. And I was like, right. Don't just be, ouch hand and just run off. Like, switch it up a little bit. Get angry. So that was a big help. But yeah, for the most part, he was just clicking shots off and getting through the day and keeping people happy. Like, pretty much everyone on that set. I don't think I've been on many sets where people were that really enthused and like happy to be there, which just makes it a double dream, Star Wars and happy people doing Star Wars.
So I wonder, maybe you can answer this. It might be a spoiler. If it is, say it anyway.
Here we go. I'm sweating already.
So obviously what we know about Vane is that we know the Mandalorian kills some of his crew now because, in the ships.
He sure did.
Do we know if he gives a shit about that? Do we know if
gives a shit?
Does he give a shit about the rest of his crew, or is he a solely, self-involved shit?
I think. Hang on. They can't do that. Okay. Yeah. I think that Vane certainly is appreciative of his fellow pirates for the manpower they provide him to help him get what he wants, which is whatever Vane wants in the moment. He wanted a drink down there. He wanted to stick it to Grief Karga. He was clearly doing the boss's bidding, trying to bring Mando to the ship. hard to say what he's looking for next, but he does seem to keep himself in fancy duds. So I'm sure he appreciates the credits. I'm sure his primary motivation, as most good pirates, would be money. I think he just follows the dollars. He's just a credit whore.
As we all are at this point.
Aren't we though? Yeah.
So let's see if you can answer this.
All right. How did the first one?
Good. That's why I'm trying to get more answers out of you.
Okay, good. Great.
So it's for someone who seems a bit narcissistic as Vane is, and I assume that's part of the name, Vane Vanity. I assume that's where it
worked out well
from.
That way, didn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah.
What is the relationship like with the boss? How can someone like him be an underling to someone else? Is there something else going on there that we will find out about, learn about, or you can just ruin for all of us and share it?
I'm going to stick purely with the hypotheses that I've kind of formed myself, because I just can't spoil anything. But it doesn't seem to me like Vane is really excited about following so much. I mean, he kind of enjoyed leading his boys to their deaths. He kind of enjoys leading the chase in the spaceship to their deaths. Vane's kind of out for himself, it seems.
If Vane becomes popular enough, do you think he takes over the ship?
Do I think he takes over the ship? I think if he had the opportunity to seize control, he probably wouldn't hesitate.
Now,
though I don't know if he could handle it, because he is so self-serving. It would be all about Vane because he's Vane. Yeah, I don't know how long that would last with Vane as the leader. I think he would certainly seize the chance. I just don't think he'd be very, very effective for very long. He'd probably end up with a knife in his back, or something would happen to him at some point.
Do you think obviously he's kind of the thuggish a little bit. Do you think he is smart enough to be a leader? Does he have that kind of credential about him? Is that there at all? Or do you think he is more of just, like I said, a goon?
He seems pretty calculating while also being very self-serving. So, yeah, I don't know how much further I can go on that answer. It seems like he's got the smarts. He just doesn't have the leadership qualities we would all hope for as a pirate captain.
So, and I imagine if he's going to come back against Mandalorian and he knows who he is he then fearless or stupid?
Two sides of the same coin there. Yeah, I mean, seems like if he can build his numbers up again, he'd probably just dive right back in for more. He's got enough cannon fodder at his side or in front of him, he'd probably just thumb his nose at what happened. He'd forget all about what happened before. Every day is a new opportunity for Vane to stick his nose in it.
So are you then preparing for more piloting, or do you think we're going to see more gunplay with Vane? Like, what do you think you've been practicing for more in upcoming episodes, do we think?
You. Has the teaser come out for the next episode? Have we seen anything about the upcoming, like, what is it, episode 5 we're coming up to?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay. Well, I'm giving you nothing, Jeff. I'm giving you everything that the trailers have shown me, and then just guessing about stuff. So I've seen footage of, it looks like more of these pirate snub fighters, but maybe during the daytime.
Okay.
So there's a pretty good chance of something happening there. I've seen in the original series, season 3 teaser trailer, there was a big old Mandalorian descending upon Navarro fighting pirates scene. I would say Vane probably doesn't love the opportunity. He probably doesn't want to get his coat all scuffed up and dirty. So he's probably not a real big hand-to-hand guy. He's a little more like, he's mouthy. He's a talky guy. He's probably willing to be like, talk some shit and then shove his guys up to take the hits, right? Or maybe shooting from afar. But I think, being in the spaceship is probably a little more his comfort zone. He was doing all right. He held his own with the Mando in his fancy little speedster for a while.
So what do we have as far as headcanon?
Jeff, you're looking for those questions. Sorry, go ahead.
What do we have as far as headcanon about this character? Where something that is true to you And then so about the character, so probably then true for us.
God, this just isn't getting any easier. You're progressing and even more difficult. I thought I was going to like start to feel a sense of relief toward the end of this run of questions, but I'm sweating even harder now. I think he should. No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to prognosticate again. I think he should meet the armorer, and then they should have a fling.
Oh, that'd be an exciting story, wouldn't it?
That'd be weird. I don't know how that would work, but she's always by herself. Vane's kind of like a loner guy. A couple of loners finding each other. I don't know what they'd have in common. Maybe she could make him some new bling. Maybe she could be his jeweler. He could get some new rings from her. That's what I'm hoping for.
So
that's the head canon that I would hope for.
Okay, so now we just had fan fiction shipping going on with these characters. I want to go down that fan fiction route, but I'm sure it's now being written.
Damn it. I'm discovering the power. I had no idea.
All right, how about this question?
Okay, great. I can't wait. Bring it on.
I know you said you did not play against Pedro Pascal in the episode that we saw. Have you ever played a scene with Pedro Pascal?
I can't tell you that. That would indicate so many things.
I have to be trying.
Have I ever played against Pedro Pascal? I cannot in good conscience answer that question at this juncture in time, Jeff, but I appreciate the astute and probing questions.
Is there any way that you violated any NDA that we should know about?
Marty, would you like the opportunity to run afoul of Disney legal today? Let me think about that one. The mouse has been working out over the years. I don't think I want to go up against that.
Because you are now known as Vane, do we know if you could still be used in future other series as other characters in Star Wars? And do you know for a fact that this is a thing?
I do not know for a fact for other characters in other shows. I know that based on my prior work history, oftentimes that is something that happens once the going back to the technical side of it out of the show itself, once they have a copy of your head cast and your hands, obviously it's a lot easier and more cost effective to keep running those rather than hire somebody new, take an entirely new head cast to start over. So if you can walk, talk, chew gum, and have some acting chops, stands to reason that they could put you in something else. And I love my makeup artists. So that would be cool.
Do we know what the other things are then? Is there anything incoming?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay. Hopefully though, right?
Nothing else that I'm aware of. No other characters that I know at this juncture, though I'm extremely hopeful. And I would say that Jon Favreau said something, alluded to the fact that, of course, if there's an opportunity to come back now that they have me, that would be great.
Come back in The Mandalorian, come back in one of the upcoming shows.
Yeah, I know, right? Any of those things would be great.
So once again, so it's kind of, I guess we'll go a little bit more to some of your experience. So have you been getting a lot of Star Wars fan base attention at this point?
Nope.
No? Wow.
No, I was thinking there might be more like, sneak around through the Instagram DMs or what have you. There were a couple of people who reached out for some autograph inquiries. That's going through official channels because I've never had to deal with that. And it's easier to just go through because Star Wars, because the internet, because social media these days, if I say yes to one thing, then suddenly I have to spend my time fielding requests that I may or may not be able to accommodate. So, that kind of thing is going to go through what's the official organization is SWAU, which I think was originally Star Wars Authentic Universe. I can't say for sure what that originally was. That they've expanded out to cover autograph and signing things for multiple properties, but also Star Wars primarily. So signings and things will be happening through them at some point in the near future. But no Star Wars stalkers. No one's come knocking on my door. No one's asked me for a lightsaber battle in the street yet. But hopefully it's Celebration. I mean, I'm down. Let's do something weird. Not weird. I mean, like, fun.
Are we hoping that Jon Favreau gets you a Jedi saber at some point?
Yeah. Jon Favreau could give me a beer and I'd be thrilled. Yeah, I think anything with that guy does. I mean, I was fortunate enough. He's a big kid too, and he would come down to set and chit chat every once in a while as he was surveying his domain. And yeah, he seems like one of the guys, and we're of a similar temperament. He's just a really good guy, and he's seems, in my mind, in my estimation, to be kind of the perfect guy to be running these things and filling them with his creativity and his technical savvy too. He really kind of propelled some industry changing technology, bringing the right people together and developing that.
So talking about some of the other monsters, can you give us an update on Evil in the new season?
Yeah, it's going. I've heard that it's a little bit shorter this season. Might be in New York right now shooting an episode of another thing that hasn't come out yet, so I'm not allowed to say what kind of devilish demon he is, but he's cool looking. I will say, the only thing I will say towards the new one is that this particular character is a little more traditional, a little more classic in look.
Very cool. When you're ready.
Hang on. Sorry, Jeff. Give me 2 seconds. My computer thought. Are you back? Can I hear you?
Yes.
Okay, good. My computer somehow thought that my AirPods were in my ears, which they are not. You can claim it. I don't even know where they are, but all right, we're back.
So when you're ready to talk about the new season of Evil, you gonna come back on?
Yeah, man. Anytime. This is fun.
Very cool. Like I said, I always like having you on. Like I said, you are definitely the record holder for Traversing the Stars. So thank you so much.
All right, well, let's maintain that. Anyone starts to creep up on me,
yes,
come back again. Knock them back down.
You'll have to come on just once a month, or I'm sure you'll be doing something all the time. So once a month you come in, I try to get an NDA to sue you, and we'll just keep rolling.
I won't even need to go to the sauna anymore. I'll just do your podcast once a month, sweat it all out, get all nervous, and cleanse my pores.
We'll just call the episode "Will He Get Sued Now?" We'll just...
How can we kill Marty's career live in radio? Lovely talking to you. I'll see you soon.